If we look at the passages that actually are clear, we find that in reality, Islam is full of miraculous scientific inaccuracy.
As a fellow engineering student, I'm all about science, so yalla, what you got for me?
Surah 18:84 through 6, we read that apparently the sun sets in a muddy pool that you can travel to yourself if you travel far enough west.
Notice this verse says, وَجَدَهَا تَغْرُبُ, which means he found it setting. In other words, this isn't describing a physical phenomenon. This is describing what Dhul Qarnayn was seeing with his own two eyes.
If you don't believe me, read Sunan Abu Dawud 3991, where Muhammad reinforces this point. He says to one of his followers, "Do you know where the sun sets? It sets in a spring of warm water."
So this hadith is considered sahih in isnad, authentic in isnad, but it's considered defective in metan, in text. Why, you might wonder? Because this hadith has been narrated by many different people, but only one of them narrates it with this particular wording. So this particular wording is therefore rejected.
If we look at the passages
Alright, so it is interesting that this guy used this particular verse as the primary example of scientific inaccuracy. Right, because from the verse itself, it doesn't, because it is a story, right, of a journey, and then he found he come to a place where that is the description, right? So it is not, because there are other verses that I would say more or can be seen to be appear to come across as a statement of fact rather than perception, observation, etc. Right? So that's one thing. But of course, many Christians use this. Right? I'm sure because their source is the same. Right? There are some few those who do this and call it this is the scientific inaccuracy, etc. Right? I have watched some of this video, so they keep on using the same argument without actually deciphering it or analyzing it. How convincing this argument would be if you are being totally intellectually honest, right? So that's number one. Yeah, and number two, I think what is interesting is because in the verse itself, it is clearly not an explanation of physical phenomenon. It is a story, right? And hence the explanation is there. I think what is important from this is the use of the hadith, right? Because that might make it seems stronger because it's not part of the story. That hadith is basically just that hadith, right?
that actually are clear, we find that in reality, Islam is full of miraculous scientific inaccuracy.
As a fellow engineering student, I'm all about science, so
yeah, I'm also an engineering student and lecturer, so I'm interested in science, obviously.
hello, what you got for me?
Surah 18:84 through 6, we read that apparently the sun sets in a muddy pool that you can travel to yourself if you travel far enough west.
Notice?
Wait, did the verse say that? I didn't notice he said that.
If you travel far enough west.
So he is implying, the verse says that if you travel far enough west, you yourself can see this. That's not the verse, right? That's interesting. I didn't notice that because he is imposing something on the verse when the verse didn't even say that. Interesting. I'm not sure whether he realized it, that he's imposing something from his own mind, as if the verse says that.
West.
Notice this verse says, وَجَدَهَا تَغْرُبُ, which means he found it setting. In other words, this isn't describing a physical phenomenon. This is describing what Dhul Qarnayn was seeing with his own two eyes.
If you don't believe me, read Sunan Abu Dawud 3991, where Muhammad reinforces this point. He says to one of his followers, "Do you know where the sun sets? It sets in a spring of warm water."
So this hadith is considered sahih in isnad, authentic in isnad, but it's considered defective in metan, in text. Why, you might wonder? Because this hadith has been narrated by many different people, but only one of them narrates it with this particular wording.
So, this is one domain of the science of hadith, which require I'm amazed of those who are in this field, to be honest. But the discipline you can understand actually, right? But those who are in that field that memorize everything and know everything from every, I'm always amazed at that, right? But if you understand this, because the issue of whether something is sahih or hadith, if you see the chain of narration, that's one angle of it. Yeah? Because if it's already weak, then the status of the hadith is already not sahih. Maybe it's da'if, etc. Right? Because along the chain of narration, wait, this guy is questionable, or this never meet this guy actually, how come, etc., right? So you have question there. That's authenticity. But the other thing is, even if everyone is okay, you know, trustworthy, etc., etc., memory, strong memory, etc., but somehow, like in this case, right, everyone says about this incident, the wording do not have this portion about this hamiyah there, right? Only this guy says this. So this is weird. So that's the discussion, right? Meaning, so how strong is this particular portion, right? Because it's the end of the hadith that says the spring there, right? But all of the other guys that transmit the same incident, the same dialogue, do not even have that portion, right? So that's the discourse here. Even though from isnad, all of them are sahih, right? So yeah. So that's it for this one. Thank you for watching. See you next time.